Failure is one of the most important parts of life because if we're failing, it means we're actually trying to do something in our lives. And failure teaches us some of the most powerful lessons. So here are 6 powerful life lessons from failure. Number 1. You can learn more from failure than from success. This is such an important thing to remember because when you think about it, we tend to learn more from our failures than we do from our successes. When we're successful at something, we tend to just want to do that more often. We don't really take the time to look at what we did right or what made it successful. But when we fail at something, this is where we tend to learn some of the most valuable lessons because we have to take a step back and reflect on what went wrong and how we can change things up next time. This is why it is so important not to be afraid of failure and to embrace it because you can learn so much from it. One of my favorite quotes about this is by Robert Collier, who said, "Success is a sequence of small wins and failures is a single catastrophic loss. So just remember that every time you fail, there's an opportunity to learn something new and to improve yourself." Just like Thomas Edison. After he failed so many times making the light bulb, someone asked him how he could keep going after all those failures. He simply replied, "I didn't fail. I just didn't find success yet." So Edison saw each attempt as a learning opportunity and he never gave up until he found success. Lesson number 2. Sometimes things have to get really bad before you change. We all know that change can be good for us sometimes, but we tend to resist it because it's scary and it's uncomfortable. We like to stay in our routines and our habits even if they are not serving us anymore because it is easier than changing. But sometimes things have to get really bad before we're willing to change. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom before we're ready to make changes in our lives. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we need to hit rock bottom in order to get our attention and motivate us to make the changes we need to make. And this is why sometimes failure can be a blessing in disguise. It can shake us out of our complacency and force us to make the changes we need to make in order to grow. For example, let's say someone has a bad habit of procrastinating. They know that it's not good for them, but they can't seem to stop doing it. Even though they've tried multiple times to break the habit, they just can't seem to do it. But then one day their procrastination leads to a big project being completely ruined. The person misses a deadline and gets fired from their job. This is a huge wake-up call for them. They realize that they need to change their ways or they are going to continue to fail in life. And so, because of this failure, they're able to finally break the habit of procrastination. So sometimes we need to hit rock bottom before we are willing to make the changes we need to make. Lesson number 3. Your ability to do things is not defined by others. Sometimes we let other people's opinions and beliefs hold us back. We might think that we are not good enough, or that we are not smart enough, or that we are not beautiful enough. And these thoughts can hold us back from pursuing our goals and dreams. But the truth is that your ability to do things is not defined by others. Only you have the power to define your own abilities and what you can accomplish. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and we should celebrate that. What makes you unique also makes you special. So don't let anyone else tell you what you can or cannot do. Believe in yourself and your abilities and go after your goals with everything you've got. Remember that it's impossible to please everyone and you can't be good at everything. You have to focus on what you are good at and what you enjoy doing and go after that with passion. Who you are is enough. There is no need to compare yourself to others and feel inadequate. Lesson number 4. You can't keep going if you don't know why you're doing it. A lot of the times we start doing something without knowing why we're doing it. We just follow what other people tell us to do or what we think we should be doing. But if we don't know why we're doing something, it's hard to keep going when things get tough. We need to have a clear purpose and a deep sense of why we are doing what we are doing in order to keep going when the going gets tough. This is why it is so important to take the time to figure out your values and what is important to you. Once you know what you're fighting for, it's easier to keep going when things get tough. For example, let's say you decide to start a business. If you just do it because you think it is the right thing to do or because everyone is telling you to, it's gonna be hard to keep going when things get tough. But if you start a business because you have a deep sense of purpose and a vision for what you want to create, it's gonna be a lot easier to keep going when things get tough. Having a sense of why you are doing what you are doing can help you push through the tough times and keep moving forward toward your goals. Lesson number 5. Failure gives us perspective. Sometimes we get so caught up in what we are doing that we forget to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We become so focused on the small details that we lose sight of the big picture. But when we experience failure, it can help us get perspective. It can help us see the big picture again. and remind us of what is really important in life. When we experience failure, it can shake us out of our tunnel vision and help us to see the bigger picture. It can help us to remember that there are more important things in life than whatever we are currently focused on. For example, let's say you are working on a project at work and you are really stressed out about meeting a deadline. You're working long hours and you're not spending any time with your family or friends. You're just focused on meeting this deadline. Well, if you were to experience a failure in this situation, like maybe you miss the deadline or something goes wrong with the project, it could help you to get perspective. You would be forced to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. You would realize that there are more important things in life than meeting this one deadline. You would realize that you need to make time for the important people in your life and that you can't just work all the time. And lesson number 6, failure makes us stronger. Failure is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it makes us stronger. When we experience failure, it challenges us to find new solutions and to try again. It forces us to be creative and to think outside the box. And this process of trying and failing and learning from our failures is what makes us stronger. Every time we fail, we have the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and to do better next time. We have the opportunity to grow and to become stronger. Instead of seeing failure as a bad thing, we should see it as an opportunity to learn and to grow. When we embrace failure and learn from our mistakes, we become more resilient and better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. As the famous author Paulo Coelho once wrote, "The search for excellence is not the proper task of man. Excellence is a property of systems, not of individuals. The proper task of man is to keep searching, to keep moving forward, to look ahead. So never be afraid to fail. Failure is just another excuse to learn and to grow." So these are some of the most powerful lessons that I've learned from my failures. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you've learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.